A lot of people would like to travel for free. How would you like to travel and get paid for it? Are you with me? Stay with me.
From Studio 17H, this is Travel Show Live with Steve Perillo.
You heard correctly. I said get paid to travel. There's a little hitch, though, that my guest is going to tell you about. His name is Jeff Blumenfeld. Jeff Blumenfeld, as opposed to any other variation of that name. He's the founder of Blumenfeld and Associates, a public relations company based in Darien, Connecticut. He's got a lot of great clients, from 3M to the Iceland Tourist Board, right? Mm-hmm. And here's what Jeff really does. He's going to talk about his book, but what it explores is connecting explorers and their project with corporate sponsors looking to demonstrate product performance in extreme conditions. Jeff, thanks for coming.
Thanks, Steve.
Right away, I want to show you the book. There it is. You want to go where? Question mark. Subtitle, How to Get Someone to Pay for the Trip of Your Dreams.
And that title comes because I'd be sitting at my desk and a guy calls me up. And he's looking for sponsorship. And I said, well, you want to go where? And he says to me, he wants to climb a mountain in Antarctica. I go, oh, God, okay, great. What mountain? Is it the tallest? And he goes, no, it's not the tallest. The tallest is 16,000 feet. His mountain he wants to climb is only 10,000 feet. And I said, well, how does that answer what I call the so what rule? You want to climb a mountain in Antarctica? You know, well, okay, so what?
So what? What does he say? I'm going to do it barefoot.
He's going to climb a mountain that's named after himself.
Oh.
And I go, how
do
does
you do
that happen? He's the last surviving member of Admiral Byrd's expedition, 1928. He's on the phone with me. He's looking for sponsorship. I find him partial sponsorship for it, and he climbs a mountain named after himself, and he does it at the age of 88. His name is Norman Vaughn. You can see him on the web. He has passed away, and this is what excites me about the business that I'm in. People have these great projects.
There's a Vaughn Mountain and...
Mount Vaughn. Yep, Mount Vaughn in Antarctica.
So what did you do for him?
Well, we found him a company to provide some of the gear that he was looking for. Not all the money he was needing, but we were able to get some of the sponsorship, and he did it. And it was on National Geographic. This is about a few years ago. So it was on National Geographic. It was well covered in the media, but you don't really know about this guy. He's Norman D. Vaughn, great American hero, last surviving member of Byrd's expedition.
Unbelievable. And he went up with a crew, and they used equipment from a sponsor who got publicity.
That's correct.
And you arranged the whole thing?
No, I arranged part of it. He needed $150,000. We were able to get, a little bit of it. But I write about it in the book because he's one of the inspirations that encouraged me to write the book.
All right, I want to go to St. Bart's and sit on the beach.
Well,
can you pay for that?
That's
or is that a so what?
That's a nice try. That's a nice try. To get sponsorship from another company to pay you to go on a trip, it cannot be a vacation. It has to be bigger than that. I give talks at libraries all over the country, and one woman says she wants to go to Guatemala. And I say, well, why would anybody want to sponsor that? And she says to me, well, I want to help kids with a library. She wants to bring books to Guatemala.
Nice,
and I say that's something that you can get sponsorship for. Somebody else calls up and says they want to trek across South America, not the long way, but across South America, and I write about it in Expedition News. He wants to do it for autism research because he has an autistic child. That starts to get into the feel of why you would get sponsorship for a trip like that. It's got to be bigger than you are.
Right, so you're talking about a third entity. There's you who wants to go on the adventure, then there's the sponsor, and then there's a good cause, maybe. A third element. You don't need the third element, but it helps.
Well, you need to
doing an amazing feat.
You need to still answer that question of why would anybody want to sponsor you? It's got to be bigger than you are. So it's bigger than you are because you're going to work for a company and test their product in extreme cold, or it's bigger than you are because you're raising money for a charity. Somebody calls me up and he says he wants to find Amelia Earhart, one of the great mysteries of our time. Where is Amelia Earhart? Where is her body? Where's the plane? Never been discovered. There's an expedition now that wants to go looking for her.
I know it's in the news right now, right?
And it's in the news because this movie's coming up. And there are people out there that are looking for funding, as we speak, to find Amelia Earhart. Well, that certainly answers the so what question.
Another so what is to break a record.
Or you want to break a record.
Right, like diving extremely low or holding your breath for a long time.
Well, we have a piece of video here where the Coleman Company has a spokesperson. The spokesperson is a school teacher by the name of Mike Haugen. Mike Haugen wanted to break a record. What's the record? He wants to climb the tallest peak in every mountain and do it.
In every country.
Every mountain, tallest peak in every state.
Every state.
Sorry, tallest peak in every state and do it in record time.
Peak in every state.
It's never, the record's 50 days. He wants to break that record. So the tallest peak in every state. Pretty easy for Florida. Just park your car, put on your flip-flops, and look for a tall piece of grass. You know. So Florida, pretty easy. Delaware, pretty easy.
Someone's done it in 50 days?
He broke the record. He did it in 45 days, doing it for the Coleman Company, generating exposure for Coleman, which makes tents, stoves, and lanterns. Toyota sponsored his vehicle, and suddenly we've got a sponsored expedition based on a simple premise. Climb the tallest peak in every state and do it in record time. Now, McKinley was tough, so that's where he started.
So that was several days.
That was a few days, yes, for McKinley.
Yeah.
Actually, it was his own rule, so he started the clock at the top of McKinley. And then he worked his way up the eastern seaboard.
Cheater. What a cheater. I can't believe it.
Worked his way up the eastern seaboard and climbed Mount Washington by taking the toll road, climbed the tallest peak in Vermont by taking a gondola to the top, but he did it. He did it in record time.
I thought you meant walking up these hills.
It's
walking
by
up
any
these
means.
mountains.
By any means. Most of them he did walk.
Yeah.
Mount Washington you can drive up.
Jeff, what was your role in this in that project?
Well, I kind of conceived the idea for Coleman, and then we promoted the expedition in each and every state as he went along. Mike Haugen's driving through if you want to accompany him on his climb, and so media would come out to follow it.
I would say.
So it gets publicity for the companies.
Right.
And draws attention to the companies.
A simple climb to the top of Mount Everest, does that have any selling power or any power whatsoever to any sponsor?
Well,
if I wanted to climb, for me it would be.
If you really wanted to impress a climber, you'd say you're going to climb K2. A climber would be very impressed with that. To say you want to climb Mount Everest, what happened after 1996, you would think that all the 8 people who died on Everest in 1996, that would kind of dampen interest in climbing Everest.
Right.
Quite the contrary. It made interest in climbing Everest even more popular than ever before, to where we are today, where there's some people who climb Everest and perhaps they're not, they shouldn't be on Everest.
Right.
Perhaps they're not prepared to be on Everest. So if you are going to climb Everest, you need a hook. You need to answer the so what rule. So what? Let's say you say that you're blind. Well, that gets interesting. Everest has been climbed, but never by someone who's blind. And Eric Weinmeier, a few years ago, came to various sponsors and said, I wanted to climb Everest. He did get sponsorship. One of my clients was Lakey. They make trekking poles. They provided him with gear. He climbed Everest. He did it safely, and it's a great adventure story.
We're going to take a break. Am I looking at this camera?
Yes, you are.
Ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to climb Mount Everest. I'll be right back during this break.